Disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, I'll alone beweep my outcast state,
and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate.
Love is your master.
Metamorphose.
Honor.
Reputation.
Passionate.
Affection.
Love is your master, for he masters you.
Like to one more rich in hope.
Hi, I'm Jace Tromsness, and I'm fortunate enough to be one of the instructors of the students you're about to see. Tonight we're going to run through a variety of exercises and techniques that help students navigate the landscape of Shakespeare's language. We'll be applying these exercises and techniques to monologues, soliloquies, and scenes from Shakespeare's The Two Gentlemen of Verona. The results are not intended to be a demonstration of finished work or performance. They are intended to illustrate discoveries that generate and develop ideas that can later be applied to working rehearsals that will contribute to overall character development. Our first two selections are from Act 1, Scene 1. The first pair of actors will apply a vocal technique called punch, paint, and pause, in which words are explored through emphasis, through coloring a word, or by applying silence before or after a word. Another actor will focus on working the language in one of three circles: a private internal circle, a more present and immediate public circle, and in a larger circle that extends beyond the scope of the literal space of the scene. Our second pair of actors will explore the trading of words, images, and ideas in the form of verbal wordplay or banter, by relating action of the scene to similar but more contemporary circumstances.
Cease to persuade my loving Proteus. Home-keeping youth have ever homely wits.
Wilt thou be gone, sweet Valentine? If ever danger do environ thee, commend thy grievance to my holy prayers, for I will be thy beadsman, Valentine.
And on a love book? Pray for my success?
Upon some book I love, I'll pray for thee.
That's on some shallow story of a deep love. How young Leander crossed the Hellespont.
That's a deep story of a deeper love, for he was more than over shrews in love.
'Tis true, for you are over boots in love, and yet you never swam the Hellespont.
Over the boots, nay, give me not the boots.
No, I will not, for it boots thee not.
What?
To be in love, where scorn is bought with groans, coy looks with heart-sore sighs, one fading moment's mirth with 20 watchful, weary, tedious nights. If happily won, perhaps a hapless gain. If lost, why, then a grievous labor won. However, but a folly bought with wit, or else a wit by folly vanquished.
So by your circumstances you call me a fool?
So by your circumstance, I fear you'll prove.
'Tis love you cavil at, I am not love!
Love is your master, for he masters you. And he that is so yoked by a fool, methinks, should not be chronicled for wise. But wherefore waste our time to counsel thee that art a votary to fond desire once more? Adieu.
All happiness be chanced to thee in Milan.
As much to you at home. And so farewell. He after honor hunts, I after love. Thou, Julia, thou hast metamorphosed me, made wit with musing weak, heart sick thought.
Sir Proteus, save you! Saw you, my master?
But now he parted who embarked for Milan.
20 to 1, then he is shipped already. And I have played the sheep in losing.
Indeed, the sheep doth very often stray, and if the shepherd be a while away.
You conclude that my master is a shepherd, then, and I a sheep?
I do.
Why? Then my horns or his horns, whether I wake or sleep.
Silly answer, and fitting well, a sheep.
This proves me still a sheep.
True, and thy master a shepherd.
Nay, that I can deny by a
It
circumstance.
shall go hard, but I'll prove it by another.
The shepherd seeks the sheep and not the sheep the shepherd, but I seek my master and my master seeks not me. Therefore, I am no sheep.
The sheep, for God will follow the shepherd for food follows not the sheep. Thou for wages followest thy master for wages follows not thee, therefore thou art a sheep.
Such another proof will make me cry bah!
But dost thou hear? You haven't stopped my letter to Julia?
I, sir, I, a lost mutton, gave your letter to her. A laced mutton, and she, a laced mutton gave me, a lost mutton, nothing for my labor.
Here's too small a pasture for such store of muttons.
If the ground be overcharged, you were best stick her.
Nay, in that you are straight to best pound you.
Oh. Nay, sir. Less than a pound shall serve me for carrying your letter.
You mistake. I mean a pound pinful.
Oh, from a pound to a pin. Fold it over and over. 'Tis threefold too little for carrying a letter to your lover.
Shrew me. But you have a quick wit.
And yet it cannot overtake your slow purse.
Next, we'll hear two soliloquies from the character Julia. In the first selection, the actor will be exploring polarity through the application of Laban's efforts and affinities. The Laban technique is a physical method, but we make great use of it in voice and speech. Each effort is expressed by two opposite affinities. For example, the effort of energy is expressed either by bound or free flow. We use this as a way to describe and generate a vocal quality. In the second selection, the actor will apply the three circles again, but now applied to a soliloquy. They will also introduce the three Ds: disclosure, discovery, and decision. This is an acting technique, but again, we borrow it to create a sense of action or intent in the vocal characterization.
And yet I would I had her look the letter. It were a shame to call her back again and pray her to a fault for which I chid her. Oh, what fool is she that knows I am a maid and would not force the letter to my view, since maids in modesty say no, to which they would have the proper construe I. Fie! Fie! How wayward is this foolish love that like like the testy babe will scratch the nurse and presently all humble kiss the rod. Oh, how curiously I chid Lucetta hence, when willingly I would have her here, and how angrily I taught my brow to frown when inward joy enforced my heart to smile. My penance is to call Lucetta back and ask remission for my folly past. What ho, Lucetta?
This babble shall henceforth not trouble me. Oh, hateful hands, to tear such muffing words, injurious wasps to feed on such sweet honey and kill the bees that yield it with your stings. I'll kiss each several paper formens. Look, here is writ, kind Julia. Unkind Julia, as in revenge of thy ingratitude, I throw thy name against the bruising stones, trampling contemptuously on thy disdain. And here is writ, love wounded Proteus. Poor wounded name. My bosom as a bed shall lodge thee till thy wound be thoroughly healed. And thus I search it with a sovereign kiss. What? Twice or thrice was Proteus written down. Oh, be calm, good wind. Go not a word away till I found each letter in the letter except mine own name. Oh, that some whirlwind bear unto a ragged, fearful, hanging rock, and throw it thence into the sea. Lo, here in one line is his name twice writ. Poor, forlorn Proteus, passionate Proteus, to the sweet Julia. Well, that'll tear away. And yet, I will not. It sits so prettily. He couples it to his complaining names. Thus will I fold them one upon the other. Now kiss, embrace, contend, do what you will.
Shakespeare's language is often discussed in musical terms. The great acting teacher Stanislavski often described moments and dialogue this way, as did many of his pupils, who went on themselves to form their own acting techniques. One of these was Michael Chekhov. In his method, Chekhov refers to the essential internal, imaginative, and physical actions of a character as either legato or staccato, tied, intertwined, and flowing, or cut, chopped, and punctuated by separation. In the next two selections, we'll see the characters Speed and Valentine and Sylvia make use of legato and staccato vocal qualities and explore the second half of the scene's overall lyrical musicality.
Sir, your glove. Not mine, my gloves are on.
Why then, this may be yours, for this is but one.
Ha! Let me see. Aye, give it me, it's mine. Ah, sweet ornament that decks a thing divine. Ah, Sylvia, Sylvia!
Madam Sylvia!
How now, Sirrah?
She is not within hearing, sir.
Why, sir, who bade you call her?
Your worship, sir, or else I mistook.
Well, you'll still be too forward.
And yet last I was chidden for being too slow.
Go to, sir.
Tell me, do you know Madam Sylvia?
She that your worship loves.
Why, how know you that I am in love?
Mary, by these special marks. First, you have learned, like Sir Proteus, to wreathe your arms like a malcontent, to relish a love song like a robin redbreast, to walk alone like one who has the pestule, to sigh like a schoolboy who had lost his axie, to weep like a young wench who had buried her grandam, to fast like one who takes a dilator, to watch like one who fears robbing, to speak puling like a beggar at Halloween. You were wont, when you laughed, to crow like a cock. When you walked,
Are all these perceived in me?
all these are perceived without you.
But tell me, dost thou know my lady Sylvia?
She that you gaze upon as she sits at supper?
Hast thou observed that? Even she, I mean.
Why, sir, I know her not.
Dost thou know her by my gazing on her, and yet knowest her not?
You never saw her since she was deformed.
How long has she been deformed?
Ever since you loved her.
I've loved her ever since I saw her. And still I see her beautiful.
If you love her, you cannot see her.
Why?
Because love is blind. Oh, that you had mine eyes, or your own eyes had the light they were wont to have when you chid at Sir Proteus for going ungartered.
What should I see then?
Your own present folly and her passing deformity. For he, being in love, could not see to garter his hose, and you, being in love, could not see to put on your hose.
Belike, boy, then you are in love, for last morning you could not see to wipe my shoes.
True, sir. I was in love with my bed. I thank you. You swinged me for my love, which makes me bolder to chide you for yours.
In conclusion, I stand affected to her.
I would you were set so your affection would cease.
Peace, here she comes.
Oh, excellent motion. Oh, exceeding puppet, now he will interpret her.
Madam and mistress, 1,000 good morrows.
Sir Valentine! And servant. To you 2,000.
As you enjoin me, I have writ your letter unto the secret, nameless friend of yours, which I was much unwilling to proceed in, but for my duty to your ladyship.
I thank you, gentle servant. 'Tis very clerkly done.
Now, trust me, madam, it came hardly off, for being ignorant to whom it went, I writ at random, very doubtfully.
Perchance you think too much of so much pains.
No, madam. So instead you, I will write. Please you command 1,000 times as much. And yet,
A pretty period? Well, I guess the sequel. And yet I will not name it, and yet I care not, and yet take this again, and yet I thank you, meaning henceforth to trouble you no more.
What means your ladyship? Do you not like it?
Yes, yes, the lines are very quaintly writ. But since unwillingly, take them again. Nay, take them.
Madam, they are for you.
You writ them, sir, at my request. But I will none of them, they are for you. I would have had them writ more movingly.
Please you, I will write your ladyship another.
And when it's writ, for my sake, read it over. And if it please you, so. And if not, why, so.
If it please me, madam, what then?
Why, if it please you, take it for your labor. And so good morrow, servant.
Shakespeare makes great use of rhetorical devices and figures of speech. One of the most often used is the imaginary scales. In this exercise, the actor, speaking a soliloquy, will engage in an argument between their desire and their conscience by literally weighing the opposing arguments in the scales, physically playing each side, shifting from one to the other. In doing so, the voice naturally follows and expresses this back and forth action. arguing in pursuit of a decision.
To leave my Julia, shall I be forsworn? To love fair Sylvia, shall I be forsworn? To wrong my friend, I shall be much forsworn. And even that power which gave me my first oath provokes me to this threefold perjury. Love bade me swear, and love bids me forswear. Oh, sweet suggesting love, if thou hast sinned, teach me, a tempted subject, to excuse it. At first, I did adore a twinkling star, but now I worship a celestial sun. Unheedful vows may heedfully be broken, and he wants wit that once resolved will to learn his wit, to exchange the bad for better. Fie, unreverent tongue, to call her bad whose sovereignty so oft thou hast preferred, with 20,000 soul-confirming oaths. I cannot leave to love, and yet I do. But there I leave to love where I should love. Julia, I lose. And Valentine I lose. If I keep them, I needs must lose myself. If I lose them, thus find I by their loss for Valentine myself, for Julia, Sylvia. I to myself am dearer than a friend, for love is still most precious in itself. I will forget that Julia is alive. Remembering my love to her is dead, and Valentine I'll hold an enemy. Aiming at Sylvia as a sweeter friend.
Now we're going to combine the soliloquy we just heard from Proteus with the next scene between Julia and Lucetta. We'll apply 3 more exercises. First, we'll see and hear how the new scene is informed by the soliloquy from the earlier scene. The actor playing Lucetta will be able to hear Proteus and have her doubts about him confirmed. Then, we'll hear Julia's monologue as a conversation. This exercise helps the actor make use of punctuation as an action, a switch in direction rather than just an idea. Lastly, we'll return to Julia and Lucetta and focus on atmosphere, both the essential atmosphere provided by the circumstances of the world of the play and also through the personal, internal atmospheres of each character.
Counsel, Lucetta, gentle girl, assist me, and even in kind love, I do conjure thee, who art the table wherein all my thoughts are visibly charactered and engraved, to lesson me and tell me some good mean how with my honor I may undertake a journey to my loving Proteus.
To leave my Julia.
Alas, the way is wearisome and long.
Shall I be forsworn?
A true devoted pilgrim is not weary to measure kingdoms with his feeble steps, much less shall she that hath love's wings to fly, and when the flight is made to one so dear of such divine perfections as Sir Proteus.
To love fair Sylvia. Shall I be forsworn? To wrong my friend, I shall be much forsworn.
Better forbear, till Proteus make return.
Knowest thou not his looks are my soul's food? Pity the dirt that I have pined in by longing for that food so long a time. Didst thou but know the inly touch of
that power which gave me my first oath?
Love.
Love provokes me to this threefold perjury. Love bade me swear.
Thou wouldst as soon go kindle fire with snow as seek to quench the fire of love with words.
I do not seek to quench your love's hot fire,
And love bids me forswear.
but qualify that fire's extreme rage, lest it should burn above the bounds of reason. Oh, know'st thou not his looks are my soul's food?
Pity the dearth that I have pined in.
By longing for that food so long a time.
Didst thou but know the inly touch of love?
The more thou dam'st it up, the more it burns.
The current that with gentle murmur glides,
Thou know'st, being stopped, impatiently doth rage.
but when his fair course is not hindered, he makes sweet music with the enameled stones, giving a gentle kiss to every sedge he overtaketh in his pilgrimage, and so by many winding nooks he strays with willing sport to the wild ocean.
Then let me go, and hinder not my course,
I'll be as patient as a gentle stream,
and make a pastime of each weary step,
till the last step have brought me to my love.
and there I'll rest, as after much turmoil.
A blessed Soldoth in Elysium.
But in what habit will you go along?
Not like a woman, for I would prevent the loose encounters of lascivious men. Gentle Lucetta, fit me with such weeds as may beseem some well-reputed page.
Why then your ladyship must cut your hair?
No, girl! I'll knit it up in 20 odd conceited true love knots. To be fantastic may become a youth of greater time than I shall show to be.
What fashion, madam, shall I make your breeches?
That fits me, as tell me, good my lord, what compass will you wear your farthingale? Why, even what fashion thou best likest, Lucetta. Lucetta, as thou lovest me, let me have what thou thinkst is most meet and mannerly. But, tell me, wench, how will the world repute me for undertaking so unstead a journey? I fear it will make me scandalized.
At first, I did adore a twinkling star, but now I worship a celestial sun.
If you think so, then stay home and go not.
Nay, that I will not.
Then never dream on infamy, but go.
Unheedful vows may heedfully be broken. And he wants wit that wants resolved will to learn his wit to exchange the bad for better.
If Proteus like your journey when you come, then no matter who's displeased when you are gone. I fear me he will scarce to be pleased withal.
That, Lucetta, is the least of my fear.
Fie, unreverend tongue, to call her bad whose sovereignty so oft thou hast preferred with 20,000 soul-confirming oaths.
1,000 oaths.
I cannot leave to love.
An ocean of his tears and instances of infinite love warrant me welcome to my Proteus.
And yet, I do.
In this next monologue, we return to the 3 Ds: disclosure, discovery, and decision. In this exercise, we will apply them one at a time as a frame over an entire section. In doing this, the actor adjusts the specific circumstances of each section to fit one of the 3 qualities. The actor will be cued when to switch from one to the next. Following that, we'll hear a soliloquy and make use of Michael Chekhov's The Four Brothers, a feeling or sense of ease, of form, of beauty, and of the whole. For our purposes as vocal exercises, ease will refer to conversational quality, form will refer to a strict adherence to the verse's meter and punctuation, and the feeling of beauty allows the actor to give over to the lyrical, musical, and poetic quality of the language. And finally, the feeling of the whole will combine all of the elements together. Again, the actor will be cued when to switch from one to the next. So Tad, you're up first with Proteus's monologue to the Duke. Can you start with discovery and go ahead and give yourself a verbal prompt to find your way into that sound and feeling of discovery?
All right, sounds good.
Holy introduction, Batman! My gracious lord. Now which I would discover the law of friendship bids me to conceal, but when I call to mind your gracious favors done to me, undeserving as I am. Holy tattletale, Batman! My duty pricks me to utter that which else no worldly good should draw from me. Holy betrayal, Batman. No. Worthy prince, Sir Valentine, my friend, this night intends to steal away your daughter.
And now disclosure.
Myself am one made privy to the plot. I know you have determined to bestow on her Thurio, whom your gentle daughter hates, and should she thus be stolen away from you, it would be much vexation to your age.
And now decision.
Thus, for my duty's sake, I rather choose to cross my friend in his intended drift than, by concealing it, heap on your head a pack of sorrows that would press you down, being unprevented, to your timeless grave.
Thank you, Tad. Drew, with the soliloquy from Valentine, will you begin with the feeling or sense of beauty?
Yes. And why not death rather than living torment? To die is to be banished from myself. Sylvia is myself. Banished from her is self from self. A deadly banishment.
Feeling of form?
What light is Sylvia be not seen. What joy is Sylvia be not by, unless it be to think that she is, and feed upon the shadow of perfection?
A sense of ease.
Except I be there by Sylvia in the night. There is no music in the nightingale. Unless I look on Sylvia in the day, there is no day for me to look upon. She is my essence, and I leave to be if I be not by her fair influence, fostered, illumed, cherished, kept alive.
And a feeling of the whole.
I fly not death to fly his deadly doom. Tarry I here, I but attend on death. But I fly I hence, I fly away from life.
We've mentioned Shakespeare's use of rhetorical devices. One he uses frequently is amplification, the increasing intensity of images and sounds to enhance point of view or action. In the opening soliloquy of this next scene, the actor portraying Proteus will apply amplification to the text. This will be followed by an exercise in point of focus and listening. Actors are often asked to clarify their point of focus. To whom or to what are they directing their text and actions? Another thing actors hear from instructors is, are you really listening? Shakespeare's plays often include actual music and songs. This scene includes one of them. It affords the actor here a chance to focus, to listen, and to invite us into their imagination.
Already have I been false to Valentine, and now I must be as unjust to Thurio. Under the color of commending him, I have access my own love to prefer, but Sylvia is too fair, too true, too holy to be corrupted with my worthless gifts. When I protest true loyalty to her, she twits me with my falsehood to my friend. When to my beauty I commend her vows, she bids me think how I have been forsworn in breaking faith with Julia, whom I loved. And notwithstanding all her sudden quips, the least or of would quell a lover's hope, yet spaniel-like the more she spurns my love, the more it grows and fawneth on her still.
How now? Sir Proteus, are you crept before us?
Aye, gentle Thurio, for you know that love will creep in service where it cannot go.
Aye, but I hope, sir, that you love not here.
But I do, or else I would be hence.
Who? Sylvia?
Aye, Sylvia. For yours,
I thank you for your own. Now, let's tune and to it lustily a while. La 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 la.
Now, my young guest, methinks you are melancholy. I pray you, what is it?
Marry, mine host, because I cannot be merry.
Come, we'll have you marry. I'll bring you where you shall hear music and see the gentleman that you asked for.
But shall I hear him speak?
Aye, that you shall.
That will be music.
Ooh, hark, hark.
Is he among these?
Aye, but peace. Let's hear him.
What is she that all our swains commanded her? Holy, fair, and wise is she. The heavens such grace did lend her, that she might admire.
How now? Are you sadder than you were before? How do you man? The music likes you not.
You mistake. The musician likes me not.
Why, my pretty youth?
He plays false, father.
How? Out of tune on the strings?
Not so. But yet so false that he grieves my very heart strings.
You have a quick ear.
Aye. I would I were deaf. It makes me have a slow heart.
I perceive you do not delight in music.
Not a whit, when it jars so.
Hark, what fine changes is in the music.
Aye, that change is the spite.
You would have them always play but one thing?
I would always have one play but one thing. But, host, doth this Sir Proteus that we talk on often resort unto this gentlewoman?
Ah, I'll tell you what Lance his man told me. He loved her out of all nick.
Where is Lance?
Gone to seek his dog, which tomorrow by his master's command he must carry for a present to his lady.
Pray you, where lies Sir Proteus?
Marry, at my house. Trust me, I think 'tis almost day.
Not so. But it hath been the longest night that e'er I watched, and the most heaviest.
Our final exercise of the demonstration returns again to rhetorical structure. Many theater professionals involved in performing or teaching Shakespeare's plays will say, "What is the argument?" The argument is everything. In this monologue, the actor playing Sylvia will emphasize three key elements of an argument: the setup of the premise or the question, the debate and presentation of position and opposition, and the conclusion or answer. And finally, we'll leave you with an epilogue to bookend our prologue. It is our sincere hope that you have enjoyed this demonstration.
Oh, Eglamour, thou art a gentleman. Think not I flatter, for I swear I do not. Valiant, wise, remorseful, well accomplished. Thou art not ignorant what dear goodwill I bear unto the banished Valentine, nor how my father would enforce me marry vain Thurio, whom my very soul abhors. Thyself hast loved, and I have heard thee say that no grief did ever come so near thy heart as when thy lady and thy true love died, upon whose grave thou vow'st pure chastity. Sir Eglamour, I would to Valentine, to Mantua, where I hear he makes abode, and for the ways are dangerous to pass, I do desire thy worthy company, upon whose faith and honor I repose. Urge not my father's anger, Eglamour, but think upon my grief, a lady's grief, and on the justice of my flying hence to keep me from a most unholy match, which heaven and fortune still rewards with plagues. I do desire thee, even from a heart as full of sorrows as the sea of sands, to bear me company and go with me. If not, to hide what I have said to thee, that I may venture to depart alone.
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 Neglect?
Wouldst thou
Let not affection change thy tender gaze to the sweet glances of thy honored love. Love is blind.
Affection.
Stay.